Welcome, I am Matteo Borghero, and today I'm going to talk about customer requirements and expectation of services. My table of content will be focusing on five major parts: mechanics of customer expectation, understanding customer expectation, what are the main pain points, and how to meet and exceed these expectations. And lastly, I will do a fast debrief on future perspective with relevance to AI and RV. So, as a first thing, we can say that consumer expectation shape almost completely the interpretation of the service itself. So clients are going to evaluate the service that it's provided to them based also and mostly on their expectation of the service. We have two kinds of expectation. We have desired expectation, so the level at which the level of service that the consumer desire and that consider reasonably achievable. And we have adequate services, the level of services under which a service is not considered satisfactory. So they are not willing to accept any service under this level. The difference between, of course, these two levels are at two extremes. The zone between these two levels, it's defined as a zone of tolerance. So every kind of service that falls within these two levels is, of course, accepted. The goal of the service provider is to get as close as possible to the desired expectation, so to meet them. We can identify three main sources of influence for the zone of tolerance. The first one are personal needs. The second one are derived service expectation, and the third one are personal service philosophy. As a second part, I will focus on two examples of how companies have been able to understand, but not only, also to shape consumer expectation. My first example refers to McDonald's. McDonald's was the first fast food company that was able to understand speed and convenience in American consumers. They understood that American consumers and then world consumers needed that. For that reason, not only they are being able to understand their needs through time, because even now they are spending a lot of time into searching and understanding the new needs of consumers, but they've been able also to set expectation of consumers. The fact that can prove this is that everywhere you go, if there is a McDonald's, as a consumer, you already know what your experience will be like. In this way, it's impossible or almost impossible to be disappointed. The second example is quite different, but still applies to our methodology. It's the Ritz-Carlton chain. They've been setting standards for luxury hospitality for years now. The average consumer of the Ritz-Carlton does not only seek an accommodation, they seek exceptional and unique experiences. How do they manage to do this? Well, by three main points. They have personalized attention. Each and every customer has its own catalog in which every employee can upload the personal information and personal needs of the consumer. And they have an empowered staff. This is kind of unique. Every staff member has a budget that can use to solve clients' problem without manager approval. So they really want to solve this kind of problem in the minimum time possible. And the third thing is service consistency. It's something similar to McDonald's. Everywhere you go in the world, you know that at Ritz-Carlton, you're gonna have a specific treatment. These are also called within the company gold standard, a set of rules that cannot be forgotten, that must be respected. The third part are pain points of consumer expectation. We're gonna look at two of them. The first one are unrealistic expectations. How to solve this problem? Well, first of all, the first mistake company do that they do not ask. To understand an expectation, you have to ask. If you ask it, doesn't mean that you're promising that kind of service. But this is a key asset for the company because it's a way to gain more information regarding what the consumer needs, what the client needs are, and you can act upon it. The second step is explaining. Providing sufficient information previously, during, and also after the service not only gives to the consumer a sign of deep care, but also can enable the consumer to understand why their expectations have not been met. The second point is escalation of expectations. So customer service expectations are dynamic. This means that they are constantly changing. To adapt to the constantly changing environment, companies and service providers must invest a lot on monitoring, tracking, and researching tools. They must ensure a constant flow of knowledge. In this way, they can also become competitive in the market, but they can also study the evolvement of the needs and of the benefits that the client needs. In this part, I will talk about recommendation on how to effectively meet and exceed customer expectation. We're gonna go through mainly 3 points. The first one is under promise and over deliver. So this is kind of a tricky strategy because the key is setting a conservative expectation and then positively shock the client by over delivering. This, of course, can create a positive shock, but misleading the clients is never a good strategy. So providers must be really careful to adopt this strategy. Clients can either felt lied to, or also they can get adjusted to it. If you apply the same strategy of under promise and over deliver to the same client 5 times in a row, it will feel misled. The second one, of course, is a strong customer relationship. And the third one is proactive communication. As I said before, companies must prioritize keeping customers informed at every stage of service delivery. In this way, also the clients can adjust their expectations during the whole process. And if their expectations are not met, at least the clients will be provided with information. My last point is regarding a small perspective on the future. We'll go through 3 main points. The first one is artificial intelligence on a macro level, predicting customer needs. Basically, why I choose to describe it as a macro level, because the analysis of big data and trends can provide information to the service provider regarding how consumer needs change within the years, but also geographically. How long they stay in one continent and how long they stay in the other. How culture can be able to influence the expectation of each consumer. In this way, global companies can quickly adapt to each and every single expectation. The second point is regarding the augmented reality. Even though this topic is not as much discussed as artificial intelligence, I think that regarding some specific industry, it could be really useful. For example, in the hospitality industry, the augmented reality and the virtual reality can be really leveraged on. How? Well, this could give the opportunity not only to enhance the service, of course, through a certain number of experiences, but also it could help the company to previously set expectations. Clients won't have to see what their service will be like only when they arrive. They can see it before, also before booking. Companies can successfully set this kind of expectation through these immersive experiences. And the last one regards artificial intelligence on a micro level, how we can hyper personalize each and every single service. Of course, through this analysis of data, we can create a tailored services for every single client. But regarding this part, there are some strong implication linked to the, of course, privacy of the clients. And this is it. Thank you very much.